All right, let's talk about a huge La Liga match. Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad. Now, this was a game that had all the ingredients for a massive upset, but instead, it turned into an absolute statement of power. Let's get into how they pulled it off.
And really, this is the one question that was hanging over the entire stadium. I mean, when you lose your biggest names, your most explosive game changers, where do you possibly find the firepower to win?
And we're not talking about just any players, right? Kylian Mbappé and Jude Bellingham are basically the twin engines that make this Real Madrid team go. With both of them out, the team looked vulnerable, especially against the Real Sociedad team that came into this match absolutely flying, one of the most informed teams in the league.
So yeah, this was way more than just another game on the schedule. This was a real test of character, a test of the whole squad's depth. Without their talismans, a lot of people were seriously wondering if Madrid had what it takes.
You know, it was just a classic sports scenario. On one side, you have these two massive holes left by the team's biggest stars. But on the other, you have this huge opportunity for a new hero to rise to the occasion. The question on everyone's mind was, who's it gonna be?
Well, the answer came, and it came loud and clear from the left wing. In the absence of those other stars, Vinícius Junior didn't just step up, he grabbed the entire match by the scruff of the neck and made it his own. The reports after the match described his performance with 3 perfect words: joyful, active, and brave. You could just see it. He played with this incredible freedom and confidence that was honestly electric to watch. He was just constantly taking on defenders, creating chaos everywhere he went.
And his impact was absolutely decisive. Look, he didn't just play well, he won the game for them. He earned and scored 2 penalties. And this wasn't luck, this was pure skill, speed, and what the source called malicia, this sort of special, crafty cunning on that left flank. He was just unstoppable.
You know, this performance felt like a real turning point. Vini has had a bit of a complicated relationship with his own fans at times, but on this night, he completely, totally won them over. The whistles he might have heard in the past, they were completely drowned out by thunderous applause.
But here's the thing, as absolutely brilliant as Vinícius was, he wasn't alone out there. This victory was really built on a fantastic team performance, where the absence of the big stars almost seemed to liberate the entire squad.
It's interesting, the reports describe Madrid as a lighter team. It's like, without the pressure of having to get the ball to their 2 superstars, they played with more collective freedom, a real team effort. Trent Alexander-Arnold put on a passing recital from the back. Federico Valverde scored an absolute screamer, a real golazo, and the entire defense was just rock solid, making hardly any mistakes.
So when that final whistle finally blew, the story of this match was written. It had a clear, decisive scoreline, and like any good story, it had its heroes, and, well, for Real Sociedad, it also had its villains.
4-1. I mean, just look at that score. A dominant, comprehensive victory that pretty much silenced any and all doubts about this team's ability to perform when the pressure is on. What a result.
And here's the story in a nutshell. On one side, you've got the hero, Vinícius, with his 2 huge goals and that incredible performance. But on the other, the unfortunate villain of the night, Madrid's own defender, Dean Huijsen. The reports described him as looking nervous, and boy did it show. He gave away a really clumsy penalty and was even whistled by his own fans. Just a really, really tough night for the young guy.
So what happened to the opposition? Well, after actually scoring an early penalty themselves, Real Sociedad just kinda disappeared. They seemed to have 0 answers for Madrid's energy and were just completely frustrated by the brilliance of Vinícius. At the end of the day, they just couldn't make a real game of it.
And just for some context, let's take a quick look at the starting lineups. You can see Madrid's makeshift attack with Gonzalo Garcia stepping in there, and that really solid midfield trio of Tchouaméni, Camavinga, and Valverde that completely ran the show.
Okay, so let's zoom out. Beyond just one great performance, what does this massive win actually mean for the bigger picture? Well, it has some huge implications for the La Liga title race.
With these 3 points, boom, Real Madrid leaps right to the top of the table. The pressure is now squarely on their eternal rivals, Barcelona, who suddenly have absolutely no room for error. The title race is officially on fire.
And the road ahead is not going to get any easier for Madrid. Look at this schedule. They have a massive Champions League playoff against Benfica with a really tough away trip to Osasuna sandwiched right in between. This stretch is going to be a true test of their championship credentials.
As for Real Sociedad, they're going to be looking to bounce back and fast.
They've got a home game against Real Oviedo coming up, followed by a trip to Mallorca as they try to get their season back on the right track.
And that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Was this an incredible, one-off, heroic performance that was only sparked because the stars were out? Or is this proof of something much deeper? That this Real Madrid squad has the character and the collective strength to win no matter who is or who isn't on the field. Now that's something to keep an eye on as the season unfolds.